over reign of leadership to President-elect Bola Tinubu on 29th of May 2023. And back home, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde has promised to redouble development process in the state by moving it from poverty to prosperity. Governor Makinde, who made this known on Wednesday when he received his certificate of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Oyo State, alongside his deputy Adebayo Lawal at the International Conference Center ICC, University of Ibadan, said his administration would not relent but also look at where citizens need government intervention. Recall Makinde urged Adebayo Adelabu of Accord and Senator Teslim Folarin of the APC to win the March 18 governorship polls. And that's the roundup.
Yes, thank you so much for staying with us. Yes, that was the political roundup around the country, events politically occurring. We're now going to be taking the resident electoral commissioner for Osun State in a review of the elections around the country, the general elections, the National Assembly elections, the presidential elections, the gubernatorial elections, and the state assembly elections. First one that we had was on the 25th of February, and of course the second series was on the 18th of March after a week's postponement. We had these elections around the country. You will also recall that Dr. Mutiu Agboke is the immediate past resident electoral commissioner for Oyo State. I have him virtually live from Osun State. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes. In the past few days, we have seen the.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's fluctuating. Can we do audio? It's fluctuating.
It's all fluctuating.
It's not clear.
It is clear here.
Yes.
Is it clear now?
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, you are cool with the state resident electoral commissioners are using certificates of return to governors re-elected and members of the House of Assembly. But sometime late last year, you were quoted that politicians now see INEC as the enemy. What exactly do you mean by that, Dr. Agboke? Wow. I think we should do audio like you suggested. I think we should do audio.
Anyway,
Nigerians unite, no matter the place you may.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Agboke.
good afternoon.
Well, we have had a little challenge with the visuals there, so we're going to be taking it audio. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Buti Agboke, like I told you earlier on, is the immediate past resident electoral commissioner for your state, but he's now the resident electoral commissioner for Osun State. Well, the INEC state reg started presentations of certificates of return to gubernatorial candidates and members of the state assemblies. I just want to quote you something you said before the elections. You said politicians now see INEC as the enemy. What exactly do you mean by that, Dr. Agboke?
Yeah, like I said, I said a lot of things, but usually anybody that would regard INEC as the enemy must be such individuals that is opposed to our rules of procedures, that is not ready to comply with what we have put down for the success of the election. For example, anybody that is opposed to BVAC is enemy of INEC. Anybody that is opposed to peaceful process is enemy of INEC. So for us to achieve success, we must, restructure our behavior. We must restructure our steps in line with what INEC has designed. Anybody whose character, tendency, behaviors is in tandem with INEC rules and regulations, of course, must be one of the people that is ready to assist us to achieve success in our election.
During the national elections, which consisted of the presidential and the Senate and House of Reps, the main issue that cropped up is the fact that INEC, people say, promised that real-time results will be transmitted to the IRF, and that did not happen. And in their own opinion, that means the elections did not comply with the laws of the land.
That is their opinion, and I agree with you, it's their opinion. That is one. Secondly, to say that that did not happen in full time is not correct. On the first election, presidential election was conducted, National Assembly, House of Rep and Senate. INEC had technical glitches with the presidential upload of results at the initial stage. By the middle of that night, the thing started dropping gradually because the technical problem was addressed, was looked into by our technical department. And following day, subsequently, the result was dropping one after the other. So to say it did not happen all out or in full force is not a correct thing. And that is the conspiracy theory narrative that has been going around. And that has to be corrected. That must be changed. That must be put in proper perspective.
They are referencing other elections that you conducted, Oshu, Ondo, and Anambra, that those results dropped immediately. And the fact that INEC was not forthcoming with the challenges that INEC faced with the IRA until Professor Issa Pantami came out that about 12 million cyber attacks occurred during that particular election. That
INEC did not attribute anything to any attack. INEC released a statement to the media. INEC released a statement to the public. And it's in the public domain that we have technical glitches. The technical glitches is within the purview of INEC, to understand and to know. But anything technical, of course, anything technology must suffer technical problems. And that was what we suffered. So if anybody is saying attack or no attack, that did not emanate from the commission.
Now, of course, some of the candidates have gone to court. And the major issues that they are referencing, I do not know whether you are a legal practitioner, you can enlighten us whether this is sub judice or not. They are saying the issue of 2/3 of states and Abuja. What is the intendment of the Constitution regarding that?
The results were sorted and announced and collated and announced by the Commission. As at the time of announcement of the results, the Commission had no impediment whatsoever. There was no obstacle whatsoever to have prevented the Commission from announcing the results. If anybody has picked any holes or any, anything with the process or manners of the announcement, like you rightly said, the matters are before my Lord Justices. Let us wait and see. But for the Commission had no impediment to have announced the result, and the results have been announced.
In essence, if the Commissioner had no impediment, it meant that the candidate that was announced as president-elect fulfilled, in the opinion of INEC, the constitutional provisions.
INEC announced the results. INEC declared the winner. The certificate of returns has been given to the winner of that election.
Let us look at the elections that followed, which was the state elections, the gubernatorial and the 28 states gubernatorial and then the 36 state assemblies. There was a week's postponement, and INEC sought the court order for reconfiguration. What exactly did reconfiguration of beavers, what did it mean?
What it means that for you to use beavers for an election, you must prepare it, reconfigure it, reset it for that election. You cannot use the beavers that you use for 2022 election, for 2023 election. You cannot use the one you use for 25th February election for the 18th March election. That is the meaning of reconfiguration. And in doing that, we needed to set it for the March election, which of course we reschedule because of the court order, palaver. And that was exactly what INEC did.
Does it really mean that after the reconfiguration, the information of the 25th February elections are still on the beavers?
They are not on the beaver, but they are the back-end server.
Okay, they are now at the back-end server.
Yes, this is the ignorance this is the knowledge or information people don't have, and they don't seem to seek to know. Once we reconfigure, all the information will be at the back-end server, and nothing will be diminished from those information.
Still available.
Exactly.
Now, still talking about the beavers, because it is looking like the beavers is actually the umpire now. Now, is beavers equal to the voter register too? Because for an election, for every polling unit, the registered voters in that polling unit will be on the beavers. Is that equivalent to voter register?
On election day, there will be voter register that will be ticked that you have come to accredit.
Okay.
The machine is used purposely for accreditation.
Okay.
To know the number of those who have appeared at the polling unit and to equal it with the number of those people that have actually cast the vote in the ballot. If the number of those who voted on election day exceed the number of those who were accredited, that is overvoting, it will be cancelled. So that is what beavers will do. Beavers is meant for accreditation.
By your assessment, sir, of the elections that we have held, the national elections, has the beavers played the expected role of the umpire, and has its role come to stay?
If you look at the trajectory of election in Nigeria, nobody needs to tell you that so far that was the best election we ever had. That was the election that guarantees certainty of everything that we did on election day. Certainty of the figures, certainty of the results. Those who are challenging the result that INEC manufactured, fabricated result, do they have anything different from what INEC has presented? If they do, they should bring it. I would have expected somebody to go and publish one and let us see it. So for us, beavers was the game changer, and the only person that will oppose beavers in an election are the fraudulent politicians.
Dr. Agboke, we just go in a minute's break. I'll be back with you shortly, sir.
Ibadan! Elections are over and it's time to come together as one. Join Bega Dink and friends at Life Matters the Southwest Unity Tour. Featuring Q-Dot, FaZe, SGXY, Jesse King Puga, Oke Bakassi, Funky Malam, Omar Baba, Dr. Smile, Baba Laria, General Lack, DJ Sexy, Baba Kamo, Archbishop, Wally Agba, Lepashos Bosse, Nepa Boys, Koja, Tai Chi, Paul the Good Guy, and more. Regular 3K, VIP 10K, Table of 8, Gold 250K, Platinum 500K. Tickets available at Foucault Supermarket Outlet, Gracie Mart Akobo, Grand X Store Outlet, Ultima Restaurant Outlet, Filmhouse Cinema Dugbe, and Samonda. Hessen Palms Mall and online at ariatickets.com. Date is the Sunday, 9th of April. Venue, Jogos Center Ibadan. Time, 3 p.m. Powered by Maltina and Goldberg. Supported by the Oyo State Government. Laugh Matters, Ibadan. Kosi Pressure. Media partners.
Solutions 93.9 FM.
93.9 FM. Keep it locked.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us.
The person you are calling is on another call.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still Solutions 93.9 FM. And of course, the program this Thursday afternoon is Political Update. I have with me the Resident Electoral Commissioner in Osun State, Dr. Mutiu Agboke. Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Dr. Mutiu Agboke.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, the elections are done and dusted. There are quite a number of litigations before the tribunals. But going forward, what has been the assessment, internally of the elections by INEC?
There are a lot of things that we have identified that we need to improve upon. Of course, year in, year out, during the election, issue of logistics is always a problem, and it's one of the things that we need to look at very clearly. You observe that in the first election, there were issues of late arrival of men and material.
Yes.
There were issues of, poll not opening on time, whereas poll ought to have opened by 8:30. So the commission will look inward and see how to better the outing. Again, the stakeholders, particularly the politicians, they still need to be engaged about the issue of vote buying. Some of them, we thought with the issue of cash crunch, it will drastically reduce this, but it was a surprising thing that we still saw some individuals coming up with a credit card. When you use credit card to come and perpetrate vote buying, it's a serious problem. So that issue of vote buying and selling should be looked into. Majorly for me is the issue of violence. Politicians are too violent during the election. They are the ones disrupting the process. They are the ones using the regulation of INEC to take advantage. They are the ones trying to decimate the stronghold of their opponents. So all these are the issues we have identified, and I'm sure conversation will open up along them in due course.
INEC has a directorate with the National Commissioner for Voter Education. The burden of voter education, shouldn't it be more on the parties than the INEC itself? And what is INEC doing in this regard so that the parties will take over this burden?
No, it's not. You don't ask what INEC is doing about that. Call them. Call the chairman of IPAC. Call the political parties. Ask them what they are doing. Do they have budget for voter education at their campaign grounds? What do they tell their supporters in their various wards? Do they teach people how to vote, how not to vote? So INEC is only doing statutory, responsibility, and that, of course, we shall continue to do. For political parties, we have been engaging them. We have been telling them, let us also engage them and take up all of them up on this aspect of responsibility.
The political parties and the political actors, are they coming to terms or realizing that the terrain has changed? Not that it is changing, that the terrain has changed completely from what it used to be. Are they coming to are they realizing this and coming to terms with it, or they still want to do it on their own terms as it used to be?
No, they don't. They have not seen the reality. They still think the election today is like the election of 2003, 07, 2011. They still believe they can still go to polling units, go and write results, or carry the ballot paper or ballot box, go and write the result, and things like that. So they are being told and they are being educated to face the current reality. Things have changed. Things have changed. Do you appreciate the volume of surprises that this election has put up?
The voter pattern.
The voter pattern. So that is enough for them, for those who are intelligent among them. You know how many of the so-called godfathers that were wrecked down by the process? Do you know how many of them that believe they can impose themselves and they were rejected? Do you know how many states that you have rejected as traditional states of victory that were disappointed in various elections? So before they know it, they will have seen the results. Things are changing, and they must come to terms that things have changed.
Now it is looking like power is returning to the people, that they are actually, their vote is counting. And I've heard you say this on a number of occasions, that votes will count. And these elections seem to have shown by the voting pattern. Labour winning in Taraba, Labour winning in Nasarawa, Labour winning in some other states, Labour winning in Lagos. This has established the fact that voters' power is restored and voter counting. What are your expectations in terms of the people, the voter behavior and voters' reaction to this in terms of their participation in the political processes?
No, all that you have mentioned that has happened variously should be a very good booster for them to want to participate more. See, during the election period should be like a carnival-like. It should be a carnival-like situation that they will now be able to show anybody in public office that very good, God don't catch you. Maybe you have done your own. My PVC is my power now. It's a period they should celebrate the removal of anybody that has not done well. So all those results you have seen should be a booster for them to participate more, to encourage themselves, to keep their voter register, to monitor those they have voted for, so as to know who to remove and to know who to return.
In terms of voter education,
Yes.
which has a very strong, powerful department under INEC, what is INEC telling the people out there now? Every individual voter whose vote is now counting.
No,
What should be the education to be given to them now?
What we need to tell them is that be reassured that your vote is your power. Your vote will determine the destiny of any politician now in Nigeria. The person you don't want cannot force himself. The person you want, you will be happy to have voted for him, and that vote will count. So my appeal to you is that INEC will continue to improve on its practice and procedures, and will ensure that your vote counts at all times. Your vote counts at all times.
I had a conversation with the National Commissioner for Voter Education, Mr. Festus Okoye, and on the issue of violence. When I know that my opponent has a strong goal, I can introduce some violence there, and then the elections may be cancelled. My opponent can do the same thing. Is that still the position of law regarding violence?
No, that is not our own interpretation of violence, but that is the reality that we are seeing. Our own interpretation of violence is that where there is deliberate disruption of the process, there will not be a result in that polling unit, and the returning officer will award 0 to that polling unit. So in considering the issue of margin of lead principle, those places that we have cancelled the result, we have awarded 0, will not be put into consideration at all.
0 to all the parties?
Yes, that is the regulation of INEC. But those that are now using it to take advantage, I think it is for the security agencies for them to step up their security arrangement on election day.
What will be your assessment of the security arrangements and the success of it in these last elections compared to the previous elections that we have conducted?
In my state, all the security agencies cooperated with me. If not for their intervention, we might not have been able to have all our 26 House of Assembly election results collated and announced. In some situations, it was serious disruption of the process we saw. The hoodlums were going from one polling unit to the other. And what we did was, as they were destroying, we are going back. We are going back. And so, for me, in my own state, my security, they were excellent.
In comparing Osun to Oyo State, where you were you came in 2018 or thereabout, you were here in Oyo. Now you are in Osun. What has been the experience and the differentials?
I know one is more sophisticated than the other, but I know that one is not Oyo State.
I didn't hear that.
I said one is more sophisticated than the other.
Okay.
But definitely not Oyo State.
Okay, break it down. Sophistication in terms of...
No, there is no need to break it down. in terms of everything, in terms of their response, in terms of, a lot of intricacies. But in all of them, we were able to, leverage on educating them, leverage on making them to do the right thing. And for me, all those apprehensions disappeared. And we didn't have any issue at all at the end of this election.
Don't forget, Oyo is the capital of the whole Western region, and still the capital of the new Oyo State. Well, Solutions 93.9 FM is the station, and of course, I'm in conversation with the resident electoral commissioner for Osun State, Dr. Mutiu Agboke. He is the immediate past resident electoral commissioner in Oyo State. Well, Dr. Agboke, you identified the issue of logistics. I remember as speaking with the new rec in Oyo State, we were in a little bit of crisis in terms of fuel and cash. How did you cope with the issue of cash crunch and fuel?
No, it was in the public domain that concessions were given to us by the CBN. It was in the news that the chairman and the commissioners went to have engagement with the group managing director of NNPC. So we leveraged on this engagement, and we were able to skate through during the election.
Now that the elections have been concluded, at least the voting part of it, the issues have moved to the courts. Basically, what will be the evidence that needs to be adduced by the litigants?
In law, he who alleges must prove. And in the electoral petition matters, it is in the class of his own. So, if you say somebody has inflated the figure of a result, you must have a copy of the original one, claiming that what INEC has announced is not correct.
Of the original one issued at the polling unit?
Exactly. You should be able to produce that.
Polling unit by polling unit?
Yes. You should be able to do that. You should be able to also show you want to rely on violence and to prove that violence is enough. But don't forget that by our regulation, INEC will not come back to conduct election where violence has taken place. So these are the things that you have to look at.
Now, when you are trying to prove, you are going to produce results, polling unit by polling unit, and you have to tally that against the BVAS accreditation, the accreditation done by BVAS. Is that the situation, sir?
It depends on what you want. Law is not a hypothesis. It depends on what you want, the way you want it. That's the way the lawyer works. If it depends on what you have, canvassed. If you need evidence, you follow that evidence and produce it. If you need INEC to come and produce, you write INEC. They give you CTC. So it depends on the situation that you find yourself.
Okay. Proceeding from, because I'm asking this on the basis of the gubernatorial issue in Osun, that the results in certain polling units, and then it was tallied against what BVAS produced.
Osun State is still in the court.
It's still in the court, certainly.
For us
so it is
to avoid that.
To avoid conversations on that. Well, I must say a big thank you to you, Dr. Agboke, the resident electoral commissioner for Osun State, and the immediate past resident electoral commissioner for Oyo State, Dr. Mutiu Agboke. I thank you for your time and your patience when we had those challenges with the visuals. And I wish you all the very best and a most successful tenure in Oyo State, in Osun State, like you had in Oyo State.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you all. Well, still Solutions 3.9 FM. And of course, Political Update is the show this 38th day of March. Well, this is the last edition for the month of March. And of course, the month of March is the last month for the very first quarter of year 2023. We have only 12 months, and 3 months is wrapping up tomorrow. That means the end of the first quarter. I'm talking in terms of time. Time. First quarter is gone. You had your plans for year 2023, and a quarter is gone. If you have a plan, it must be in black and white, written down. It must have clear deliverables, and it must also be timed. That in first month I will do this. In second month or first quarter, second quarter, this is what I should have achieved. These are the objectives. I should have achieved this and that. Therefore, you sit down as we wrap up the first quarter of year 2023. What has been my plan for the first quarter of year 2023? What have I achieved? What has been the obstacles, the deliverables that I've achieved? What is the next step? This is what we should all reflect on as we go day by day, week by week, month by month, so that at the end of each year, we should be able to say, well, this much I have done of what I plan to do. Or even you have achieved much more than you plan to do. It is important to have a plan. And it is also important that that plan must be in black and white. And it is also very, very important that there must be deliverables, clearly marked as deliverables, and it must be timed. Any plan that is not written down, kept in your head, any plan that does not have deliverables, and most importantly, any plan that is not timed, it is not a plan. Those are mere conjectures and wishes. I'll be back shortly for the home run. Thank you so much for staying with us. Solutions 93.9 FM is the station, and Political Update is the show this Thursday afternoon, the 30th day of March, year 2023. Yes, the 2023 elections are done and dusted, at least the voting part of it, and the declaration of results, done and dusted. But of course, many of the contestants, the candidates, are in court, or they are in court, they are in election petitions tribunal, pursuing the legal option of taking back what they think is their victory in the elections. From the presidential candidates to the senatorial candidates, House of Reps candidates, gubernatorial candidates, state assembly candidates, many of them are in court. People have asked, why is it that after elections, every election cycle in Nigeria, contestants, candidates, even if the outcome is so glaring, 100, 200,000, 300,000 margin of votes, they still head to the courts saying that they were robbed, the election was not free and fair. The presidential elections, for instance, in Nigeria, even on air this morning, people were saying the constitutional provision is 2/3 of the 25% in 2/3 of the state and Abuja, and which means that Abuja, the presidential candidate, must have 25% in Abuja too. Some of these arguments, the court, I am not a legal practitioner, some of these arguments, the courts, up to the Supreme Court, settled it quite a while ago. But we seem to hold on to the sentiments and to the emotions that we have attached to elections. Elections are elections to elect leaders. Some will win, some will lose. There will be another cycle of election. Shouldn't we be thinking beyond I, me, myself? And we think and look at the bigger picture. Are we enhancing or are we diminishing this union? Is it about what I want must come to be? We all know that these elections that we had, 2023 elections, is a clear departure from previous elections. We saw even a new Labour Party defeating the old hands in Lagos, hands down. We saw Labour Party win elections in Taraba, a quantum in Borno, Plateau, Benue, winning in Plateau, winning a quantum in Benue, winning Nasarawa State. This is a clear departure from way back in time. We saw the APC losing in Katsina. That's the home state of the sitting president. And the configuration, or is it the reconfiguration, shows clearly that something is changing. It is time the political gladiators sit down and rethink their strategies in playing politics and winning elections. You, one way or the other, grab the party ticket. In days past, party tickets will assure you victory. Of course, it is clear now that a party's ticket does not guarantee you victory. Elections have moved from the hands of the political gladiators into the domain of the voters. And it is only going to get better with the introduction of technology. It is no longer INEC that is the umpire. It is technology. It is the beavers. As we speak, beavers is the umpire of elections in Nigeria, not even INEC. Not even INEC can manipulate or do any shenanigans with the beavers. Of course, in Nigeria's 2023 elections, beavers has emerged as the unbiased umpire. Well, it's a wrap on Political Update this Thursday, 30th day of March, year 2023. It's been Ayodeji Abjishokwe presenting with Favor Lawrence producing me. God bless you all. God bless our union. Bye for now.